Welcome back to Keep It Real Boxing. This is Cypherbox, and I want to talk about an article I saw on boxingscene.com a couple of weeks ago. Now, all of you lot people are going to say, well, why are you talking about it now for? Well, like I said, kind of doing a lot of catch-up videos. I haven't done really a lot of videos over December, been really busy over Christmas with work and stuff like that. But this was a really interesting one, and it's to do with JUAN MANUEL Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. Now, apparently, according to this article, Marquez was offered $100 million by some Filipino investors to fight Manny Pacquiao in a fifth fight in the Philippines. Like, that's a hell of a lot of money, man. And Marquez has openly talked about it and said he turned down the offer. Now, let's just go over their little fight series. So their first fight was in 2004, and at featherweight. And even though Marquez got knocked down 3 times in the first round, it ended up in a draw, a controversial draw as well, might I add. A lot of people felt Marquez won it, some felt Pacquiao. It was, even with those knockdowns, it was a close fight. It was a tough fight as well. But I think you would have to give it to Pacquiao just because he had the knockdowns. But the second fight happened in 2008. Manny Pacquiao won by a split decision at this was at super featherweight. Again, it was a close fight, went Pacquiao's way. The third fight, was a majority win for Manny Pacquiao at 147 pound, I believe that one was, at welterweight. That was 2011, and that one shocked me because I felt Marquez boxed better than Manny Pacquiao. I felt he outboxed Manny Pacquiao most of the fight, and he should have won that fight. When I watched that fight, I remember the third one, I was like, what? How did that happen? Marquez clearly won that fight for me in my opinion. And that's why in the fourth fight, we saw the knockout. The knockout, Marquez didn't care about points, didn't care about winning rounds. All he cared about was knocking Manny Pacquiao out, because he said, every time I leave it to the judges, he goes, I basically get screwed. Is basically what he said. That I get screwed out of in a decision. So I'm out to just knock him out, and that's what happened in that fight. And he did it. Even though both of them got knocked down in that fight, Marquez got the knockout, and it was beautifully timed. He waited patiently and got Pacquiao to commit and countered his punch and knocked him out cold. And there was talk of a fifth fight. Bob Arum was trying to make a fifth fight. Marquez wasn't having it. Marquez has just openly said that basically he didn't care about the money, or the money that was offered by the Filipino investors, stating that he said the win was more important to him. The honor and the victory and the glory of the victory, that meant a lot more to him than having a fifth fight for $100 million. He said, and shout out to him, because most fighters wouldn't have done that. Most fighters would have taken that fight and taken that money. One of the reasons he said he didn't want to take the fight as well, because he goes, what happens if I get robbed out in the Philippines? He goes, the likelihood is I probably will get robbed in the Philippines if it went to a decision. So he goes, I was happy and content that I got my victory over him finally, that I deserved. And, he felt that he didn't need to get, he didn't see the need to have a fifth fight for 100 and for that kind of money. He goes, as far as I'm concerned, for me, I was satisfied that he got the victory. That's what he said, and that he finally got his win, which was well overdue against Manny Pacquiao. I mean, shout out to him, because there's not a lot of fighters who would have done that, in all honesty. I know a lot of people out there are going to jump on here and say, oh, because he was scared and whatever. But come on, scared or not, whether you're scared of your opponent or not scared of your opponent, $100 million, that's like Mayweather paycheck. That's a Mayweather paycheck right there. No one in the business is making that kind of money. And to be offered that for a rematch against Manny Pacquiao, to travel to the Philippines, and you're risking it. You are putting yourself in a position where you could potentially, if it goes to the decision or goes the whole 12 rounds, you're probably most likely going to lose. And even if you won the fight, you're going to get screwed. But most fighters will still take that risk, because look how much money there was on the table. Think of it that way. So I don't think it's down to do anything with fear. I think he was just genuinely satisfied with it, and at the same time he thought, well, what's the point of going over there and getting screwed if it goes 12 rounds? Or getting robbed, should I say. So I just thought it's a really interesting story. Wanted to give my take on it. I mean, shout out to JUAN Manuel Marquez. I mean, $100 million? Wow, how many of you would have turned that down? Even if you were scared to fight the opponent again, or you were frightened to get in the ring with that person again, whatever the excuses are going to come up for this one. But how many of you would really turn that down as a fighter? You know, think about it. How many fighters do you know that will turn that down? Regardless, even if the stacks were, if the odds were stacked against you, would any of these fighters out there turn that down? I doubt it. I doubt even Mayweather would turn that down. Anyway, just wanted to give my thoughts on that one. Thought it was an interesting little story. As always, guys, like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, this is Cypherbox reminding you to keep it real.